Welcome back to the deep dive. It's interesting how some places get really famous for just one thing, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. Like sustainability, maybe, or being a special kind of community.
Exactly. You sort of picture in your head, maybe serene, focused on that one mission.
But then, well, then you look at the actual source material, the documents, the notes,
So
and
suddenly it's, wow, way more complex. You find all these threads connecting out to, like, business, culture, politics.
even the justice system, which is pretty much what we found looking into Sólheimar, the settlement in Iceland, based on the sources you provided.
Right. So that's the plan today. Let's try and unpack all these different bits and pieces from the material we have.
And see what kind of, multi-layered picture emerges about Sólheimar. It's definitely more than just the label.
Okay, so where should we start? Maybe with that international reputation. The sources mention that.
Yeah, let's do that. Around July 2003, it seems Sólheimar was getting quite a bit of attention overseas.
As an eco-village, right? An example of sustainable development.
Exactly. The sources point to Communities magazine that's U.S.-Canada based.
And what do they say?
They apparently called it the oldest eco-village in the world and probably the best example of a sustainable society. That's like out of maybe 15,000 similar places.
15,000. Wow. Okay, so that's significant praise.
Definitely. And then there was the British magazine Ecologist.
What about them?
Well, they listed Sólheimar as one of only 6 settlements in Europe that were actually, proving sustainable development could work.
6 in Europe. That's pretty exclusive company.
It really is. Part of a global map, apparently. But Sólheimar was one of the handful in Europe singled out, so the sources definitely established this strong international image early on.
Okay, so globally recognized for sustainability, but the sources then go deeper, right,
Yeah.
into specific projects happening within Solheimar.
Yes, exactly. Things like social projects, partnerships, it broadens the picture quite a bit.
Let's talk about that Bergmall charity project,
Yeah.
the Holiday House.
Right, the Bergmall Charity and Friends Association. The sources say the first shovel went in the ground August 31st, 2005.
And this wasn't just a small cabin, was it?
No, not at all. Described as a 520 square meter house. Pretty substantial.
And its purpose.
Specifically for cancer patients and people with chronic illnesses, a place for them to stay.
Located right there in Solheimar.
Yeah, between 2 other buildings, Veghus and Ceciljuhus. The sources even named the designers ASK Architectum and the builders SG Hus from Selfoss.
Okay. And how many people could it hold?
Capacity for 26 people, mix of double and single rooms, all with their own toilet and bath, apparently.
So how was it used?
Bergmall used it for what they called happy weeks in autumn and spring, but it was also available year-round as a holiday house for patients and related groups.
And Bergmall had a history with Solheimar already, didn't they?
That's right. The sources mentioned they'd been hosting chronically ill people for free since '95, first elsewhere, but then at Sólheimar from 1998. So yeah, about 7 years by the time this house project started.
Makes sense. The sources also include a comment from the chairwoman, Kolbrun Karlsdotter.
Yes, thanking Sólheimar, but also, pointing out they still needed quite a bit of funding, though she did mention offers of volunteer help coming in.
So a real community effort
Yeah.
involving external groups, too.
Definitely. And the sources list some related names and groups mentioned alongside this project, like the Cancer Society of Iceland, Guðrún Agnarsdóttir.
The former MP from the women's list.
That's the one noted, yeah. And Sigurður Gunnlaugsson from FS Torg F, identified as real estate. The author also adds an observation that Bergmall people were, quite visible at Sólheimar during their stay.
Okay, so Solheimar is involved in some pretty specific, important charitable work. What other partnerships did the sources mention? Something about sports.
Yeah, that was kind of unexpected. A partnership with KR, the big sports club.
KR. Really? When did that start?
The sources give a date, May 23rd, 2006, for the official start.
Huh. That's quite different from eco-villages and charity houses. What did the partnership involve?
Well, there was this event described where the Sólheimar soccer team visited KR.
Oh, cool.
And they got kitted out. Uniforms, shoes, balls, all that stuff. Donated by someone called Joa Uthurja, according to the sources.
Nice gesture.
And the sources kind of framed it symbolically, the youngest soccer team in the country, Sólheimar's meeting the oldest, KR.
Right. Was it just equipment?
No, there was money, too. 500,000 Icelandic krona.
Wow.
Yeah, a joint donation from KR, Shell, and Landsbanken. specifically for sports activities at Sólheimar.
So a significant investment in their sports program.
Seems like it. And it wasn't just one way. The plan was for KR's championship team, the KR Sólheima team, to visit Sólheimar later that summer, play some soccer with the residents.
That sounds like a great exchange. Did the author add anything here?
Yeah, a personal note, mentioning seeing a picture, possibly of beer golfer Thor handing out gear, and the author makes this connection in their mind to, like, uniforms, ingenuity, trading, broader ideas.
Okay, and other related names mentioned.
Kristen Bjornsson, Shellegen, Arvakur, HF, and something called Rutsha, or radar, just listed there in the source material related to this section.
Okay, so we have charitable work, sports partnerships. What about culture? The sources mention something big there too, right?
Oh, yeah, definitely. This is where it connects to Lazy Town.
Lazy Town, the kids show.
That's the one. According to the sources, the show actually had its premiere at the Sólheimar Theater.
No way. When was this?
April 22nd, 2004, which, interestingly, is the first day of summer in Iceland.
Huh. So Sólheimar hosted the launch of this major international show.
Seems so. And the sources give a little context about the theater work at Sólheimar itself, mentioning things like one-on-one work, pairs, and integrating disabled and non-disabled people together on stage.
So they had an active theater program. Did the residents interact with Lazy Town beyond just hosting the premiere?
Yeah, apparently they visited the Lazy Town studio, got a sneak peek at the first season before it even aired.
That's quite a connection. Do the sources give much background on Lazy Town itself?
Quite a bit, actually. Names involve like Magnus Scheving, the creator, Stefan Karl Stefansson, who played Robbie Rotten.
Robbie Rotten.
Exactly. And it mentions the difference between the newer TV show and the older Icelandic stage play from Ladabear.
Right. And didn't the author make some claims related to the show's development?
Yes, the author claims they got new ideas, like using puppets and creating Robbie Rotten after returning from England, though the source also states the official production reason for puppets was practical kids grow fast.
Okay. And corporate connections. Lazy Town was pretty big.
Huge. The sources link it to Turner Broadcasting System, which is, Time Warner, CNN, Looney Tunes, that whole group.
Wow.
They even mentioned the dissolution date for the company managing it, and someone named Eleanor Caroline Brown linked to Turner Denmark.
So big media ties. The author connects other things too, don't they? Like tech companies.
Yeah, several broader claims pop up here in the sources. The author suggests a link between the Google Pixel phone name and the Lazy Town character Pixel, and connects a photo of their son playing football, the number 8, their own football past, with ideas about children's heroes, the One GOAL education initiative, and putting health info online, kind of weaving personal history with these larger themes.
And a personal wish about the Sólheimar Theater.
Right. The author expresses wanting Lazy Town to be specifically in the Sólheimar Theater because their youngest child lived there.
The sources also mention another company appearing around then, Emacs.
Yes, Emacs Ltd. Described as a wireless internet company, we live on the air, appearing around the same time as the premiere.
Wasn't there a celebrity sighting mentioned?
Yeah, kind of randomly. Quentin Tarantino apparently being at the Lazy Town studio, and the author claims they met him there.
Tarantino. Okay, and something about other movies.
A brief mention of a disabled person involved in Love Actually, and something about Mary. It's just dropped in there.
And a specific claim about a laptop picture.
Right. A picture supposedly labeled 1 laptop per child of Lazy Town, which also says Learning Care Group. The author claims that's my laptop for this learning thing, and that Lazy Town is marked as a learning care group.
Okay, so Sólheimar, through this Lazy Town connection described in the sources, touches major entertainment, corporate media, tech ideas, film. It's quite a mix, especially with the author's personal claims woven in.
It really is. And these cultural ties, well, they start to intersect with the structure and networks around Sólheimar itself. Management, politics, business connections mentioned in the sources.
Right, let's get into that structure. There was a management change noted, wasn't there? Around 2003.
Yes, the sources highlight that and point out that some of the people involved had worked for Reykjavik City or related companies before.
Who was on the executive board then, according to the sources?
Peter Sveinbarnarsson as chairman, Agnar Gullaugsson as manager noted as coming from Reykjavíkurborg, the city, and Sólheimar says, and Guðmundur Bjarnason identified as XB and a former MP.
Okay. And the representative council. That seemed like a broader group.
It was. The sources list names like Vilhjálmur Vilhjálmsson, noted as XD, chairman of the Association of Local Authorities, and Reykjavik mayor. Arnie Johnson, also XD, and an MP, Guðmundur Bjarnason again.
So political figures. Who else?
Edda Björgvinsdóttir, the actor-director. Olafur G. Gustafsson, a lawyer. Oli Tynes Johnson, a journalist. Lara Margaret Ragnarsdóttir, XD and MP, plus Margaret Jónsdóttir, Gisli Hendrickson, Peter Svein Bjarnason again, Sverrir Berg Steinarsson, Thomas Gaddar Olesen, a real mix.
And the sources mention their political party affiliations, using those codes.
Yeah, they provide a key. XD for Independence Party, XB for Progressive, XV for Women's List, and then others like XA, XS, XC, XP, XM are just listed. It shows, based on the source, individuals linked to various parties were involved in the governance.
Okay. Did the sources draw specific connections for any of them? Like Agnar Gulluksson, the manager?
Yes, his previous roles with the City of Reykjavik operations manager, head of construction, and his involvement with Reykjavik Energy on the Imagine Peace Tower project on VA Island.
Interesting. And his wife?
Chris Björg Kristjánsdóttir, mentioned as later becoming an employee at Landsnet HF.
Landsnet, the power grid company.
Yeah, and the sources connect Landsnet to Losle Arin, the optical fiber network, which was linked to Reykjavik Energy, and notes Landsnet later became majority-owned by the Icelandic treasury. So it traces this path from city government to energy and national infrastructure.
And they live somewhere specific.
The sources mention they had a summer place in Freezy Island at the time, which becomes relevant later with other connections.
Okay. What about the au pair mentioned? Emma Maria.
Emma Maria Gerardisa Hensen. The sources note her family connection to the police through her grandparents.
Right. Now, the music industry connection seemed important in the sources, too, through Sverrir Berg Steinarsson.
Exactly. He was on the representative council. The sources link him to music publishing Steiner Berg & Sons.
And associated companies.
Bauger Group, Dagur Group, Ardegi, Prenstoian, Ore and Athafnir, Iceland National Association. A whole list. The sources identify Steinerberg's sons as prominent figures in these companies and Icelandic society, mentioning names like John Oskir and John Olafsson alongside them. The author does state it's their assumption they are related.
So major business and media players potentially linked through this council member.
And that music link pops up again, doesn't it, with the manager's daughter?
Agnar Gulliksson's daughter.
Right. Her boyfriend was apparently in a boy band, the Boys from Norway, and the sources claim they stayed at Sólheimar, tying back, perhaps, to Sverrir Berg Steinarsson's music industry connections.
It's like a web. And the author brings in their former workplace, too. Navision.
Yes, weaving in connections through former co-workers, linking them to different spheres.
Like who?
Okay, Jarni Sorg Bjarnason linked to Landstein Group, Dagger Group, Ardegi, some of the same groups tied to the music publishers. August Omar Berg Augustsson, described as having ties into a musical family from Akureyri, leading to potential opportunities in Hollywood. A path, the author notes, was similar for another musician, Skuli Gaudason, who came to Sólheimar for Lazytown work.
Interesting parallel.
Others, Ingibjörg Gísladóttir, working with elementary schools in Reykjavik, Froster Jónasson, Spurry, involved with Home and School Network Security Project, SAFT, John Ern Guðbjartsson, marketing manager at the University of Iceland.
And Katrín Anna Guðmundsdóttir.
University of Iceland Gender Studies, met Shiri Blair, and then linked by the author through relationship or marriage into the author's own relatives, a nationally known actor's family from Freezy.
Freezy, where Agnar and Chris Björg had their summer house.
Exactly. The geographical connection is noted.
There was another Reezy link too, right? Margaret Trostasdóttir?
Yes. Wife of John Otto Ragnarsson, Herbalife mentioned. Sister of Bjorn Ingi Hrafnsson, political assistant for XB and XM leaders mentioned. And she's linked to a famous relative in Freezy nicknamed Shark Jörundur.
It's incredibly dense with names and connections in these sources, and the author has a concluding thought on this.
A personal statement, yeah. Expressing hope that these named individuals can explain what the author perceives as trading my ingenuity and acquiring property in my ingenuity that rightfully should have been mine, specifically linking their ingenuity to the music industry using the internet.
And related points mentioned here.
Election offices, the Navision company itself, K3 Business Technology Group, and Apple opening its store in Iceland, just noted alongside these connections.
Wow. Okay, so the sources paint this picture of Sólheimar's leadership being deeply networked into politics, business, media, culture, even specific locations like Freezy, all interwoven with the author's own network and claims.
It's a very complex map presented in the material, and it doesn't stop there. The sources then connect Sólheimar to the justice system.
Right. The Prison and Probation Administration.
Yeah. A formal cooperation contract was signed September 1st, 2004, according to the documents.
And what did that involve?
a pilot project called Save and Social Adaptation, basically experimentally placing prisoners at Sólheimar.
Placing prisoners at Sólheimar.
That's what the sources state. And a new agreement for this pilot was signed November 2nd, 2005.
Was there a legal basis for this?
Yes, the sources mention Act No. 492/2005. It allowed prisoners under supervision to finish sentences outside prison if they were working or studying, paying fees as part of reintegration.
Okay. What were the conditions for prisoners going to Sólheimar?
Generally needed a sentence of 3+ years, though exceptions were possible. No more than 3 prisoners there at once, usually stayed for 6 months or more. And critically, Sólheimar had to consent, and the prisoners had to meet strict conditions set by both Sólheimar and the prison administration.
So, quite regulated. The author adds a personal note here, too.
Yes, a direct clarification. Just for the record, I've never been sentenced to prison, just put in there, without trial, judgment, and law. Not even in the movie Anger Management.
Okay. And other related points mentioned in this section.
Things like the author's claimed inability to get free, a detective being the first person trying to befriend them on return, a former vice chair of the Social Democratic Alliance Party becoming director of Litlafroni Prison, and the claim that 2 Sólheimar employees admitted to having previously worked for the prison administration.
This adds, well, a completely different dimension to the Sólheimar described in the sources: involvement with the justice system and prisoner rehabilitation.
It really does. It's far removed from just the eco-village image.
Okay, so we've covered the international reputation, social projects, sports, culture, the complex management networks, and now the justice system connection. The sources also contain some broader claims by the author, right? Kind of tying things together from their perspective.
Yeah, exactly. Some quite sweeping claims that attempt to connect many of these dots.
Like the claim about Sólheimar's international attention.
The author directly states, "It's because of me," linking it to things like the movies Johnny English and Love actually being somehow related to Sólheimar. And to big tech, Apple, Google, DoubleClick, the internet industry, which the author attributes to my ingenuity covering movies, TV shows, and other art.
That's a big claim. And something about songs and slogans.
Yes, claiming people have been singing their songs gives examples like "Feel it in my fingers" and "How can we sleep when our beds are burning?"
Yeah.
And using their slogan, "Where to eat and sleep, and the best way to get there." Cites examples like 50 Cent in the movie SPY and a rock star using it on TV.
Okay. What else? Some claims about England.
Yeah, claiming England was terrified of a coup d'etat and mentioning a coworker wanting to talk about English girls, which the author connects to song lyrics. It's quite associative.
And social networks.
Claims ingenuity credit for Facebook, MySpace, Twitter, LinkedIn, Reddit, and also DoubleClick again, stating, "I gave this ingenuity the name too." All of it.
Right. And claims about financial benefit.
Yes, that others have a copy-paste of their money, mentioning significant returns over 2 decades, and holding market share of their claimed ingenuity.
The author also presents a sort of timeline related to their arrival at Sólheimar.
Yes, suggesting things happened quickly after they got there. A tailor was sent for a national costume, a new au pair arrived, and then the management change in 2003, implying a connection or consequence.
And claims about communication being controlled.
A significant one, yes, claiming efforts were made almost from day one to stop them going to the U.S. and to control communications to the U.S., allegedly to gain time and influence.
Also claims about personal belongings and emails.
Yes, being told they wouldn't get their household items back and that their Icelandic webmail was attacked, losing emails and records of their activities, business, government contacts, banks, etc.
And one final connection mentioned? Angela Stokes.
A Sólheimar volunteer who became a CNN girl, with the author noting CNN is Time Warner linking back to that Lazy Town Turner connection mentioned earlier.
And the author has a final word in one source excerpt.
Recommending people read those Google documents to understand the full context and get the big picture. Signing off, yours sincerely, Gisli Johnson, Now and Then Photos.
Okay, so these claims really try to frame everything discussed, the projects, the people, the events, through the lens of the author's own experiences and perceived ingenuity.
Exactly. It adds another very personal layer to the already complex picture presented in the source material.
So let's try and wrap this up. We went on quite a journey through these sources. We started with Sólheimar, known internationally, right, as this leading eco-village.
Yeah, the best example even, according to one source. But as we unpacked the material, wow, it got way more intricate.
We saw the layers. The Bergmal Holiday House, showing real commitment to social welfare, connecting with health groups.
Then the surprise partnership with KR Sports Club linking to national sports, big sponsors, completely different field.
And the cultural side, especially Lazy Town premiering there. That pulled in threads to huge media corporations like Turner, film figures, technology ideas, plus all the authors' related claims.
And then the structure itself. That 2003 management change, the names on the council, the sources connect them out to city government, specific political parties listed in the material, major business groups, music industry, media.
Plus those personal and family networks, the Rizzy connections, the links through the author's former colleagues. It's just this dense web.
And let's not forget the justice system connection, that cooperation with the Prison and Probation Administration detailed in the sources, placing prisoners there under specific conditions.
It really shows how one place, Sólheimar, as depicted in these sources, became this focal point or maybe a crossroads for an incredible variety of activities and networks. Social work, sports, global culture, politics, business, justice, and the author's personal narrative woven through it all.
It's certainly a far cry from just a simple eco-village description. The material presents this really complex tapestry.
So here's something to think about, based purely on what these sources present. Given this intricate mix, the projects, the diverse people involved from politics and business listed, the corporate links like Lazy Town, the justice system program, the author's claims, what does it suggest about how communities, maybe even seemingly specialized ones, can actually intersect with commerce, culture, and governance in ways that are, well, definitely not obvious from the outside? It really makes you wonder what connections might exist just below the surface elsewhere, doesn't it?